Hey everyone, these are the rates and unit rates guided notes. Let's get started. A rate is a type of ratio, meaning it is also a comparison of two numbers. However, a rate has different units. For example, a comparison of the ounces of a drink and the cost would be the rate 20 ounces for $2. The different rates are ounces and dollars. Another common rate is the speed limit. The speed limit on the local highway is 70 miles per hour. This means you drive 70 miles for every 1 hour. My car can travel 50 miles for every 2 gallons of gas. The different rates are miles and gallons. There exists a special rate called a unit rate. A unit rate is a rate where the second quantity is 1. The above example of the speed limit of 70 miles per hour is also a unit rate because the second quantity is 1. A car travels 70 miles in 1 hour. The rate of 20 ounces for $2 is not a unit rate because the second quantity is 2. Sally reads 110 words per minute is a unit rate because she reads 110 words in 1 minute. Sean reads 220 words in 2 minutes. This is not a unit rate because the second quantity is 2. Circle the rates that are also unit rates. Drinking 8 cups of water per day. This is a unit rate because it's per 1 day. Sarah ran 3 miles in 30 minutes. This is not a unit rate because it's for 30 minutes. Jaden reads 5 pages in 3 minutes. This is not a unit rate because the second quantity is 3. Use 6 tablespoons of sugar for every 2 cups of water. Not a unit rate because the second number is a 2. Joseph runs at a pace of 9 minutes per mile. This is a unit rate because he runs 9 minutes per 1 mile. Diego sleeps 8 hours per night. Again, this is a unit rate because it's sleep per 1 night. You can convert a rate to a unit rate with equivalent fractions. Write the rate as a fraction, then write the second fraction with the denominator equal to 1. Convert 6 tablespoons of sugar for every 2 cups of water to a unit rate. So we're going to write 6 tablespoons for 2 cups as a fraction. 6 over 2. We want the bottom number to become a 1. So from 2 to 1, I would divide by 2. And you're always going to look for a way to either multiply or divide to get to 1. So whatever I do to the denominator, I have to do the numerator. So 6 divided by 2 will give me 3. To have the denominator equal to 1, you can divide by 2. To keep the fractions equivalent, also divide the numerator by 2. Now the rate reads 3 tablespoons of sugar for every 1 cup of water. And that is a unit rate because the second number is a 1. For $10, you can buy 5 drinks. Convert this to a unit rate. So I have 10 to 5. I want the bottom number to be 1. So from 5 to 1, I'm going to divide by 5. Again, always division or multiplication. So 10 divided by 5 is 2. To have the denominator equal to 1, you can divide by 5. To keep the fraction equivalent, also divide the numerator by 5. Now the rate reads, for every $2 you can buy 1 drink, and that is a unit rate. Practice. Convert the following rates to unit rates. Dan drives 135 miles in 3 hours. So we have 135 over 3. We want the bottom number to become a 1. So what do I do to 3 to get to 1? Again, multiplication or division. I would divide by 3. So I'm going to divide 135 by 3 and I get 45. So the unit rate becomes 45 miles per hour. Lara mows 4 lawns in 2 hours. So I'm going to have 4 on the top and then 2 on the bottom. I want my bottom number to be 1, so how do I get from 2 to 1 using multiplication or division? I will divide by 2, so I divide the numerator by 2. 4 divided by 2 is 2, so my unit rate is 2 lawns in 1 hour. Frank drives 112 miles with 4 gallons of gas. My numerator will be 112 and my denominator would be 4. I want my denominator to be 1. How do I get from 4 to 1 using multiplication or division? I'm going to divide by 4. 112 divided by 4 gives me 28. So my unit rate is 28 miles per gallon. Using the information above, answer the following questions. If Dan continues to drive at the same rate, determine how many miles he will travel in 4 hours. Use equivalent fractions to answer this question. So going back up here to Dan, I know that he travels 45 miles per 1 hour. So 45 miles per 1 hour, but I want to know how far he travels in 4 hours. So how do I get from 1 to 4 using multiplication or division? I'm going to multiply by 4, and then I will multiply the numerator by 4. So 45 times 4 is 180. So Dan will travel 180 miles in 4 hours. Lara continues to mow lawns at the same rate. How many lawns can she mow in 5 hours? So her rate was 2 lawns in 1 hour. 2 lawns in 1 hour. I want to know how many for 5. So how do I get from 1 to 5 using multiplication or division? I will multiply by 5. 2 times 5 is 10. So she can mow 10 lawns in 5 hours. Frank continues driving at the same rate. How many miles does he travel with 7 gallons of gas? Figured out that he gets 28 miles per gallon. I want to figure out how many for 7 gallons of gas. How do I get from 1 to 7 using multiplication or division? I will multiply by 7, multiplying 28 by 7 as well, and I get 196. So with 7 gallons of gas, he can travel 196 miles. Unit price is a specific unit rate which tells you the cost per unit. Understanding unit prices can help you get the best deal as a shopper. A 10-ounce can of soup costs $1.50. A 15-ounce can of soup costs $1.95. Which soup can is the better deal? So we want to figure out how much each one costs per ounce. Then we can compare which one is the better deal. So we are going to determine the unit price of each. One 10-ounce can is $1.50. So I have $1.50 for one 10-ounce can. And I want to figure out how much it is for 1 ounce. So I'm going to divide by 10. And then I'm going to divide $1.50 by 10. And I get 0.15, or that would be 15 cents per ounce. So for the 15-ounce can going up here, I noticed that it costs $1.95 per 15 ounces. I want to figure out how much for 1 ounce. So 15 to 1, I'm going to divide by 15. $1.95 divided by 15 gives me 0.13 or 13 cents per ounce. Therefore, this one right here is the better deal because it costs 13 cents per ounce, and this one costs 15 cents per ounce. A 14-ounce box of cereal costs $3. A 20-ounce box of cereal costs $4.60. Calculate the unit rate of each box of cereal to determine the best deal. So I want to figure out how much it costs for 1 ounce. I know that 14 ounces cost $3, so I will write 3 in the numerator. But I want to figure out for 1 ounce, so 14 to 1, using the multiplication or division, will be divide by 14. So 3 divided by 14 gives me 21 cents. The 14-ounce box is 21 cents per ounce. The 20-ounce box costs $4.60. So I will write 4.60 in my numerator, and I want to figure out how much for 1 ounce. So 20 divided by 20 will give me 1. 4.60 divided by 20 gives me 23 cents. So in this case, the 14-ounce box will be the better deal because it costs 21 cents per ounce versus the 20-ounce box that costs 23 cents per ounce. Okay, everybody, that's it for today. Thank you.